Admiral Jake Morrison sat in his chair on Luna Command Station, watching the stars through the big window. The coffee in his cup had gone cold hours ago, but he did not care. Space was quiet today, just like every other day for the past 20 years. He ran the orbital defense systems around Earth, a job that seemed pointless most of the time. Who would attack Earth anyway? Humans had never met any aliens. The alarm started ringing loud and sharp. Jake jumped up so fast that his coffee cup fell to the floor. Dr. Lisa Kane ran into the control room, her face white with fear. She held a datapad in her shaking hands. "Sir, you need to see this right now," Lisa said. Her voice was tight and scared. Jake took the datapad and looked at the numbers. His blood turned cold. The long-range sensors had picked up something big coming toward Earth. Very big. "How many ships?" Jake asked. "We count at least 3,000 vessels, sir. Maybe more. They are still too far away to get exact numbers," Lisa said. She pointed at the screen showing the sensor data. "They will reach our solar system in 6 hours. Jake stared at the data. 3,000 ships. That was more ships than humans had ever built in their entire history. Earth only had about 50 military ships, and most of those were small patrol boats that protected the trade routes between Earth and Mars. "Are you sure these are not our ships coming back from somewhere?" Jake asked, even though he knew the answer. "No, sir. The energy patterns are completely different from human technology. These ships use some kind of power source we have never seen before," Lisa said. Jake walked to the big communication panel and pressed the red button that would connect him directly to Earth Command. General Paul Martinez appeared on the screen after a few seconds. "What is the emergency, Jake?" General Martinez asked. "Sir, we have contact, alien contact. A big fleet is heading straight for Earth," Jake said. The general's face went pale. "How big?" 3,000 ships, sir. They will be here in 6 hours. General Martinez was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Send all the data to Earth. Command right now. I need to call the president." The screen went black. Jake turned to Lisa, who was still studying the sensor readings. "Can you tell anything else about these ships?" Jake asked. "They are huge, sir. Each ship is several miles long. The lead ships are giving off energy readings that are off our charts. These aliens have technology that makes our best ships look like toys," Lisa said. Meanwhile, on Earth, President Kate Sullivan was in a meeting about farm production when her aide burst into the room. "Madam President, you need to come to the Situation Room right now. We have a code red emergency," the aide said. President Sullivan had never heard a code red called before. That was the highest alert level, used only when Earth itself was in danger. She followed her aide to the underground Situation Room, where General Martinez was waiting with a room full of military officers. "Madam President, we have confirmed alien contact. A large fleet is approaching Earth with what appears to be hostile intent," General Martinez said. The president sat down hard in her chair. "How do you know they are hostile?" "The way they are moving, ma'am. They are coming straight at us in attack formation. Also, our computers just finished translating a message they sent us," General Martinez said. He pressed a button, and an alien voice filled the room. The computer translated the words into English. "People of the third planet, you will surrender your world to the Corvani Empire within 1 day, or we will destroy all life on your planet. Resistance is useless. You have primitive technology and cannot stop us." The room was silent. President Sullivan felt sick to her stomach. She had always wondered if humans were alone in the universe. Now she had her answer, and it was the worst possible news. "What ships do we have available?" the president asked. "The home fleet has 43 ships ready for combat." "Captain Steve Rodriguez is in command of our largest vessel, the USS Defender. But ma'am, our ships are no match for what is coming. We estimate that even one of their ships could destroy our entire fleet," General Martinez said. President Sullivan stood up and looked around the room at all the worried faces. "We will not surrender Earth to aliens. This is our home. Send orders to all military units to prepare for battle. Get our ships ready to fight." "But ma'am, we cannot win against 3,000 ships," General Martinez said. "Maybe not. But we will not give up without a fight. That is what makes us human," the president said. Far away in space, War Commander Thex Valar stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the small blue planet ahead. His species, the Corvani, had conquered 47 star systems in the past 50 years. Earth would be number 48. "Commander, we are receiving signals from the human planet. They refuse to surrender," his aide reported. Thex Valar laughed. "Of course they do. All primitive species think they can fight us at first. How many ships do they have?" "Our scouts report less than 50 vessels, Commander. Most are very small. Their largest ship is only half a mile long." "Pathetic. We will destroy their fleet in minutes, then take their planet. Begin the attack as soon as we reach their system," Thex Valar ordered. The Corvani fleet moved forward through space like a dark cloud of death, heading toward Earth. The aliens had no idea that they were about to make the biggest mistake in galactic history. The Corvani fleet entered the solar system like a pack of hungry wolves. War Commander Thex Valar watched the tactical display on his bridge as his 3,000 ships spread out in attack formation. His first target would be the gas giant Jupiter and its research stations. He wanted to destroy everything humans had built before moving on to their home planet. "Commander, we detect several human research facilities around the large gas planet," his tactical officer reported. "Destroy them, all. Show these humans what happens when they refuse the Corvani Empire," Thex Valar ordered. The lead ships of his fleet fired their plasma cannons at the Jupiter stations. Bright beams of energy shot across space toward the human facilities. Thex Valar expected to see the stations explode into pieces. Instead, something impossible happened. The plasma beams hit the stations and just bounced off like rocks thrown at a mountain. "What happened? Why are the stations still there?" Thex Valar demanded. His tactical officer looked confused and scared. "Sir, our weapons had no effect. The human stations appear to have some kind of energy shield we cannot penetrate." Thex Valar felt his first moment of doubt. The Corvani had conquered dozens of worlds, and their plasma weapons had never failed before. But he pushed the worry away. These humans just had better shields than most species. His fleet would break through eventually. "Send more ships. Use maximum power on all weapons," he commanded. Meanwhile, on one of the Jupiter stations, Engineer Carl Mitchell watched the alien attack through reinforced windows. The station did not even shake when the plasma beams hit it. Carl smiled and spoke into his radio. "Luna Command, this is Jupiter Station 7. The aliens just tried to destroy us with their biggest guns. Our neutronium armor did not even get warm." Back on Luna Command Station, Admiral Jake Morrison received Carl's report with satisfaction. For 50 years, humans had been preparing for this day. While the rest of the galaxy thought Earth was primitive, human scientists had been working in secret. They had built defenses that no alien species had ever seen. "Dr. Kane, activate the Sol Defense Grid. It is time to show our visitors what real technology looks like," Jake ordered. Dr. Lisa Kane's fingers flew over her control panel. All around the solar system, things that looked like simple research stations and communication satellites began to change. Hidden panels opened to reveal massive weapons. Solar collectors that aliens thought were used for power generation turned toward the Corvani fleet. "Grid is online, Admiral. All stations report ready to fire," Lisa said. Jake pressed a button on his chair. "All human ships, this is Admiral Morrison. Begin Operation Homecoming. Show them what we can really do." Captain Steve Rodriguez sat in the command chair of the USS Defender. His ship looked small and weak compared to the alien vessels, but appearances could be fooling. The Defender was powered by a contained antimatter reactor and protected by armor made from compressed matter that was harder than diamond. "All ships, prepare to engage the enemy. Remember, we are not the primitive species they think we are," Steve said into his radio. Lieutenant Amy Foster commanded the HSS Vanguard, one of 20 ships in Steve's squadron. Her ship was only 300 feet long, tiny compared to the mile-long Corvani vessels. But size did not matter when you had the right technology. Captain Rodriguez, this is Lieutenant Foster. My ship is ready. Let's show these aliens why they should have stayed home, Amy said. The human fleet moved toward the Corvani vessels. To the aliens, it looked like a suicide attack. 20 small ships against 3,000 large ones seemed like madness. War. Commander Thex Valor watched the approaching human ships and laughed. Look at them. They think their toy boats can fight our war fleet. This will be over in seconds. But as the human ships got closer, something strange happened. The Corvani sensors began showing impossible readings. The small human vessels were accelerating to speeds that should have been impossible. They were moving faster than light itself. Commander, the human ships just disappeared from our sensors, the tactical officer reported in panic. What do you mean disappeared? Thex Valor demanded. They were there 1 second and gone the next. Our computers cannot track them. Suddenly, alarms started ringing all over the Corvani flagship. The human ships had not disappeared. They had moved so fast that they were now behind the alien fleet. Captain Rodriguez smiled as his ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly behind a Corvani cruiser. The aliens had no idea that humans had learned to fold space and time itself. Fire. Quantum torpedoes, Steve ordered. The USS Defender launched 6 torpedoes that tore through space-time itself. They hit the Corvani cruiser, and the massive alien ship simply ceased to exist. It did not explode or break apart. It just vanished, as if it had never been there. Lieutenant Foster's ship appeared next to another alien vessel. Her weapons were different from Steve's torpedoes. The Vanguard fired gravity bombs that created tiny black holes inside enemy ships. The Corvani vessel was crushed from the inside out in less than a second. All around the Corvani fleet, human ships were appearing and disappearing like ghosts. Each time they attacked, another alien ship died. The Corvani weapons could not even target the human vessels because they moved through dimensions the aliens did not know existed. In 10 minutes, the human fleet had destroyed over 200 Corvani ships without taking a single hit. War Commander Thex Valor watched his tactical display in horror as red marks showed destroyed vessels across his formation. How is this possible? Our intelligence said these humans barely had rocket ships, he said to himself. His aide approached, carefully. Commander, should we retreat? No, we are the Corvani Empire. We do not run from primitives, Thex Valor shouted. But inside, he was beginning to understand that the humans were not primitive at all. Dr. Kane watched the battle from Luna Command with cold satisfaction. The aliens had made a big mistake coming to Earth. They thought humans were weak and helpless. Soon they would learn the truth about what humanity could really do when threatened. The real battle was just beginning. War Commander Thex Valor stared at his tactical display in disbelief. In just 30 minutes, his mighty fleet had lost over 500 ships. The human vessels moved like nothing he had ever seen before. They appeared behind his ships, fired their impossible weapons, and vanished again before his gunners could even aim. All ships, focus fire on the human vessels when they appear. Use prediction algorithms to target where they might show up next, Thex Valor ordered desperately. His communications officer looked up from his station with fear in his eyes. Commander, the ships are not responding. Many of our vessels have lost all power. Their engines are dead. What do you mean their engines are dead? Thex Valor demanded. Before the officer could answer, the main screen showed something that made Thex Valor's blood turn cold. The human ship called USS Defender had appeared directly above his flagship. It was so close that he could see the details of its hull through the bridge windows. Captain Steve Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Defender, looking down at the alien flagship below. His ship's gravity manipulation systems held the massive Corvani vessel in place like a bug trapped in tree sap. Target their weapons and engines only. We want prisoners, not corpses, Steve ordered his weapons officer. The defender fired precise beams that cut through the alien ship's weapon systems like a hot knife through butter. In seconds, the most powerful ship in the Corvani fleet was helpless. Lieutenant Amy Foster was having similar success with her squadron. The HSS Vanguard had disabled 12 enemy ships without destroying them. Her gravity weapons simply crushed their engines and weapon systems, leaving the crew alive, but unable to fight. Admiral Morrison, this is Lieutenant Foster. We have disabled the alien advance guard. They cannot move or fight. What are your orders? Amy spoke into her radio. From Luna Command Station, Admiral Jake Morrison watched the battle with satisfaction. The plan was working perfectly. The aliens had expected to fight primitive humans with chemical rockets and nuclear weapons. Instead, they faced technology that was centuries ahead of anything they possessed. Continue the operation, Lieutenant. Disable as many ships as possible. We want to send survivors back to tell their empire what happens when they threaten Earth, Jake replied. Dr. Lisa Kane activated the next phase of Earth's defense. Hidden installations throughout the solar system came online. What the aliens thought were communication satellites revealed their true purpose. These were quantum entanglement relays that allowed human forces to coordinate their attacks across billions of miles in real time. Admiral, all systems are active. We now have complete control of everything that happens in our solar system, Lisa reported. Good. Begin Phase 3, Jake ordered. On Mars, engineer Carl Mitchell received the order he had been waiting for. He pressed a series of buttons on his control panel, and the red planet itself became a weapon. Massive magnetic launchers hidden beneath the Martian surface activated for the first time. Luna Command, this is Mars Base. Launching kinetic packages. Now, Carl reported. Chunks of metal and rock the size of buildings shot out from Mars at incredible speed. They moved so fast that they became invisible streaks of light crossing space. When they hit Corvani ships, the results were devastating. The alien vessels simply came apart like toys hit by a hammer. War Commander Thex Valor watched in horror as his ships died around him. His fleet had conquered star systems and destroyed entire civilizations. Now they were being torn apart by a species they thought was primitive. Commander, we must retreat. We cannot win this battle, his aide said. Retreat? The Corvani Empire does not retreat from primitives, Thex Valar shouted. Sir, these are not primitives. Look at what they are doing to us. Their technology is beyond anything we have ever seen, the aide replied. On the bridge of the Defender, Captain Rodriguez received new orders from Admiral Morrison. Captain, we are ready for the final demonstration. Show them what the sun can do. Steve smiled. Roger that, Admiral. All ships, move to safe distance. Solar protocol is now active. Around the sun, hidden installations that had been disguised as research stations for decades began to move. Massive rings of metal and crystal emerged from solar orbit, each one miles across. The aliens had no idea that humans had been building a weapon inside their own star. Dr. Kane pressed the activation button on Luna Command. Solar collection array is online, targeting the center of the alien fleet. The rings around the sun focused the star's energy into a beam of light that could melt planets. The beam shot across space and hit the center of the Corvani formation. 20 alien ships simply evaporated like drops of water in a furnace. Thex Valor fell to his knees as he watched the impossible weapon fire from the human star. His species had ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years, but they had never seen technology like this. Signal all ships to cease fire and prepare to surrender, he whispered. Sir, did you say surrender? His communications officer asked in shock. Yes, send the surrender signal. We cannot fight these humans. They have turned their entire solar system into a weapon, Thex Valor said. The message went out to all remaining Corvani ships. One by one, they powered down their weapons and engines. The mighty fleet that had conquered 47 star systems was surrendering to the species they had planned to enslave. On Earth, President Kate Sullivan watched the battle end from the Situation Room. General Paul Martinez stood beside her, both of them amazed at how quickly the aliens had been defeated. "How many ships did we lose?" the President asked. "None, ma'am. We did not lose a single vessel. The aliens never even managed to hit one of our ships," General Martinez reported. President Sullivan shook her head in wonder. 50 years of secret preparation. It was worth every penny. The battle was over, but the real message was just beginning. The galaxy was about to learn that Earth was not a primitive world to be conquered. It was a technological powerhouse that had been hiding its true strength while studying every alien civilization in known space. The age of human dominance was about to begin. Captain Steve Rodriguez walked through the corridors of the Corvani flagship with 4 armed Marines behind him. The alien ship was huge inside, with ceilings 20 feet high and corridors wide enough for trucks to drive through. Everything was built for creatures much larger than humans. The Corvani crew they passed looked at the humans with fear and confusion. These aliens stood 8 feet tall with thick gray skin and 4 arms, but they cowered like children when the humans walked by. Word had spread quickly through the ship about how easily the human fleet had destroyed over half their armada. Steve found War Commander Thex Valor in what appeared to be the ship's command center. The alien leader sat in a chair that was more like a throne, his head hanging low in defeat. When he saw Steve approaching, he looked up with eyes that showed both fear and curiosity. "I am Captain Steve Rodriguez of the Human Defense Force. You are now my prisoner," Steve said through a translation device that converted his words into the Corvani language. Thex Valor stood up slowly, his 4 arms raised to show he was not carrying weapons. "I am War Commander Thex Valor of the Corvani Imperial Fleet. I surrender my ship and my remaining fleet to your forces." "Good. You will order all your ships to power down completely and prepare to be boarded by human crews," Steve replied. "Captain Rodriguez, may I ask you something?" Thex Valor said. Steve nodded. "What do you want to know?" "How long has your species possessed this technology? Our intelligence reports said you were barely capable of spaceflight," the alien commander asked. Steve smiled coldly. "Your intelligence reports were exactly what we wanted them to believe. We have had faster-than-light travel for over 60 years. We have been watching your empire and dozens of others for decades." Thex Valor's eyes widened in shock. "You have been watching us? For decades? Every move your empire made, every world you conquered, every species you enslaved. We studied your tactics, your technology, your weaknesses. We knew this day would come eventually," Steve explained. Meanwhile, on Luna Command Station, Admiral Jake Morrison was coordinating the surrender of the remaining Corvani ships. Out of 3,000 vessels that had entered the solar system, only 800 were still functional. The rest had been destroyed or disabled by human weapons. Dr. Lisa Kane approached Jake with a datapad in her hands. "Admiral, we are receiving signals from outside the solar system. It appears that other alien species detected the battle." "What kind of signals?" Jake asked. "Communication transmissions from at least 12 different civilizations. They all want to know what happened." "To the Corvani fleet. Some of the messages sound scared," Lisa replied. Jake smiled. "Perfect. Let them be scared. It is time the galaxy learned the truth about humanity." On Earth, President Kate Sullivan was preparing for the most important speech in human history. She stood in the Oval Office, looking over notes that her advisors had prepared. In 1 hour, she would address not just the people of Earth, but every intelligent species in the galaxy. General Paul Martinez entered the office with the latest reports from space. "Madam President, Captain Rodriguez has secured the Corvani flagship. War Commander Thex Valor is cooperating fully with our interrogation." "What has he told us about the Corvani Empire?" the President asked. They control over 200 star systems and have a total fleet of about 50,000 ships. But ma'am, after seeing what our technology can do, I doubt they will try to attack us again, General Martinez replied. Good, but the Corvani are not the only threat out there. How many other hostile empires exist in our part of the galaxy? According to the Corvani commander, there are at least 6 major military powers that regularly attack and conquer other species. The Corvani Empire was actually one of the smaller ones, the general said. President Sullivan felt a chill run down her spine. If the Corvani were small compared to other empires, humanity might face much larger threats in the future. But today had proven that human technology was superior to anything the aliens possessed. Back on the Corvani flagship, Captain Rodriguez was learning more about galactic politics from HFY. The alien commander seemed eager to share information, perhaps hoping that cooperation would save his life. Captain, you must understand that news of this defeat will spread quickly through the galaxy. Other empires will want to test your strength, HFY warned. Let them come. They will meet the same fate as your fleet, Steve replied confidently. You do not understand. The Vorthan Empire has over 100,000 ships. The Zalak Consortium controls half the galaxy. These powers will not make the same mistakes we made, the alien said. Steve leaned forward in his chair. What mistakes did you make? We assumed you were primitive because you hid your technology so well. We sent only a small portion of our fleet. If we had brought our full military might, the outcome might have been different, HFY explained. You think so? Let me show you something, Steve said. He activated a holographic display that showed the entire solar system. Red dots marked the locations of human defense installations. HFY stared at the display in growing horror. There were thousands of red dots scattered throughout the solar system. Hidden weapons, defense platforms, and military bases were everywhere. The humans had not just turned their star into a weapon. They had turned their entire solar system into the most heavily defended fortress in the galaxy. This is impossible. How did you build so much without anyone noticing? HFY whispered. We have been preparing for this day for over a century. Every asteroid mining operation was really a weapons platform. Every research station was really a military base. Every communication satellite was really a sensor array watching for threats like your empire, Steve explained. The alien commander slumped back in his chair. We never had a chance, did we? No. You never did, and neither will anyone else who threatens Earth, Steve said. Lieutenant Amy Foster was leading the inspection of disabled Corvani ships throughout the solar system. Her teams were collecting examples of alien technology and taking detailed scans of their weapons and engines. What they found confirmed that human science was decades ahead of anything the aliens possessed. Captain Rodriguez, this is Lieutenant Foster. I have completed the technical analysis of the alien fleet, Amy reported over the radio. What did you find? Steve asked. Their technology is impressive by galactic standards, but it is primitive compared to ours. Their fastest ships cannot exceed light speed by more than 10 times. Our slowest ships can do 50 times light speed. Their weapons use basic plasma and particle beams. We have moved beyond that to gravity manipulation and quantum destruction, Amy explained. Steve nodded with satisfaction. Good work, Lieutenant. Continue your analysis. We need to understand everything about their technology before we release the survivors. The battle was over, but the real work was just beginning. Humanity was about to reveal itself to the galaxy as the new dominant power. The age of hiding was over. The age of human expansion was about to begin. President Kate Sullivan stood behind the podium in the White House press room, but today her audience was not just the people of Earth. Hidden transmitters throughout the solar system were broadcasting her speech to every inhabited star system within 500 light years. For the first time in human history, Earth was speaking directly to the galaxy. People of Earth and inhabitants of the galaxy who are listening to this broadcast, I am Kate Sullivan, President of the United Earth Government. Today marks the end of humanity's isolation and the beginning of a new age, she began. On thousands of worlds across the galaxy, alien species stopped what they were doing to listen to the transmission. Most had heard rumors about the destruction of the Corvani fleet, but few believed that a single planet could defeat 3,000 warships. 6 hours ago, the Corvani Empire attacked our solar system with the largest invasion fleet in their history. They demanded our surrender and threatened to destroy all life on Earth if we refused. We did refuse, and the result speaks for itself, President Sullivan continued. In the Situation Room beneath the White House, General Paul Martinez watched the broadcast on multiple screens showing reactions from alien worlds. Some species looked terrified, others seemed excited, and a few appeared to be calculating whether humanity could be a useful ally or a dangerous enemy. The Corvani fleet has been defeated. Of their 3,000 ships, over 2,000 have been destroyed or captured. The survivors are being treated according to the laws of war and will be returned to their empire with a message, the president said. On the bridge of the USS Defender, Captain Steve Rodriguez was preparing the surviving Corvani ships for their journey home. War Commander Thex Valar stood beside him, watching human engineers work on his damaged vessel. "Your people are repairing our ships," the alien commander observed. "We are giving you enough power to reach your nearest base. We want you to deliver our message to your empire and to the rest of the galaxy," Steve replied. "What message is that?" "That Earth is no longer hiding. We are here, we are advanced, and we will defend ourselves against any threat. But we also seek peace with those who come in friendship," Steve explained. Thex Valar nodded slowly. "Your species is very different from what we expected. Most civilizations that gain this level of technology become conquerors themselves. We might have, if we had been alone in the galaxy, but we spent decades watching how other empires behaved. We learned from your mistakes," Steve said. Back on Earth, President Sullivan was reaching the most important part of her speech. "To the peaceful species of the galaxy, know that Earth extends an offer of friendship and cooperation. We have much to learn from each other, and much to gain through trade and cultural exchange." Dr. Lisa Kane monitored the galaxy's response from Luna Command Station. Peaceful species like the Centauri Federation and the Altair Republic were already sending messages expressing interest in establishing diplomatic relations with Earth. But to those who would threaten innocent worlds, who enslave other species, who spread war and suffering across the stars, know this. President Sullivan's voice became hard and cold. Earth will not tolerate the strong preying upon the weak. We have the power to stop you, and we will use it. Admiral Jake Morrison watched with satisfaction as long-range sensors detected ships from multiple empires changing course away from human space. Word was spreading quickly that Earth was not a target to be attacked lightly. On Mars, engineer Carl Mitchell was already working on the next phase of human expansion. Hidden factories beneath the red planet's surface were building new ships and weapons. Humanity would not remain confined to one solar system much longer. "Admiral Morrison, this is Mars Base. Production facilities are operating at full capacity. We will have 50 new ships ready within the month," Carl reported. "Good work, Carl. Begin construction of the Deep Space Exploration Fleet. It is time." "We visited our new neighbors," Jake replied. Lieutenant Amy Foster was leading the final inspection of the Corvani prisoners before their release. The alien crews looked at her with a mixture of fear and respect. They had seen human technology in action and knew they were lucky to be alive. "Tell your people what you saw here today," Amy said to a group of Corvani officers. "Tell them that humans do not seek war, but we will end any war that is brought to us." The aliens nodded eagerly. They understood the message and would deliver it faithfully to their empire. President Sullivan concluded her historic speech with words that would be remembered throughout the galaxy for centuries to come. Today, humanity takes its place among the stars not as conquerors, but as guardians of peace and freedom. We invite friendship from those who offer it, and we promise swift justice to those who threaten innocent life." As the transmission ended, Captain Rodriguez gave the order for the surviving Corvani ships to depart. The 800 vessels that remained from the once mighty fleet limped away from Earth's solar system, carrying with them the news that would change galactic politics forever. War Commander Thex Valar stood on his bridge one last time, looking back at the blue planet that had defeated his empire so easily. "Navigator, set course for Corvani Prime. Maximum speed." "Yes, Commander. Estimated arrival time is 6 months," the navigator replied. "Signal the High Command as soon as we reach communication range. Tell them that we have encountered a new galactic power. Tell them that the humans are not to be underestimated," Thex Valar ordered. On Earth, people gathered in the streets to celebrate humanity's first victory in an interstellar war. But in government buildings and military bases, around the world, leaders were already planning for the future. This battle was just the beginning. General Martinez approached President Sullivan as she left the podium. "Madam President, we are receiving diplomatic requests from over 30 different species. It seems everyone wants to establish relations with us now. Schedule meetings with the peaceful ones first. And General, begin expanding our military production. Today we faced one small empire. Tomorrow we might face something much larger," the president replied. Dr. Kane was already working on humanity's next project. Deep space sensors were being deployed beyond the solar system to watch for threats. Exploration ships were being prepared to make contact with friendly species. And most importantly, new weapons were being developed that would make today's demonstration look like a small firecracker. As the sun set on Earth, Admiral Morrison stood in his office on Luna Command Station, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, alien empires were learning that a new power had emerged. Some would seek friendship, others would plot revenge, and a few might even try to test humanity's strength again. But Jake was not worried. Humanity had spent over a century preparing for this moment. They had built the most advanced technology in the galaxy while pretending to be primitive. They had turned an entire solar system into a fortress, while the rest of the galaxy ignored them. The age of human expansion was beginning, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again.